Hey, Walt here from StogieReview.com with another video cigar review. This time around, I'm doing a cigar that surprisingly we haven't reviewed already. I thought this was going to be just a run-of-the-mill sort of short ashes review so that I could get through this review that should have been posted about 12 hours ago as quickly as possible. But as it turns out, surprisingly, we haven't reviewed it already, and this is the La Hermandad by Sean Williams of El Primer Mundo Cigars. And this cigar was released around the IPCPR convention last year. If you head back a couple of months in the posts or just search for La Hermandad, some video will pop up with Sean Williams that we recorded at IPCPR, which will give you some more information about this particular cigar. Basically, it's available in three sizes. It's a Robusto, Toro, and a 6x60. Prices range from, I believe, $8 for the Robusto, $9 for the Toro, to $9.60 for the 6x60. There's also some names that are associated with those cigars, but I really don't remember what they are. And I'm just kind of playing it by ear since the camera's out of reach, or my laptop is out of reach. And cigars are made by Abe Flores out of PDR Cigars in the Dominican Republic. So with all of that sort of information out of the way, I want to actually get to smoking the cigar because I've had very few of them, and I'm really eager to smoke another one. The ones I've had in the past were really good. Large black foot band, which leads to a naked cigar. No secondary band, no cellophane, and it looks pretty good overall. I like the presentation, the real simplistic band with the sort of silver design work. Kind of makes it subtle, but it's still very apparent at the same time. The wrapper looks nice and oily. It's a bit lumpy. Some of the veins are fairly large. It's got some nice oily patches to it. Feels nice and packed, so on the surface this looks like a really solid cigar. So we're going to get smoking. I'll come back. I want to check up on a couple of more things, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the cigar, the distribution of the cigar, and we'll sort of wing it. We'll go from there. All right, the thing I wanted to check up on was the makeup of the cigar. I thought it was a little more substantial than this, but the wrapper is a Brazilian Arapiraca. The end binder and filler is just listed as Nicaraguan. I thought maybe it went a little bit further as to what the binder and filler was, but since I got the camera on anyway, we might as well go through the lighting process. Pre-light draw is a bit stiff. It's a little concerning. Hopefully it's not a ton of work to get a decent amount of smoke out of it, but we'll find out soon enough. The pre-light flavor is very heavy in sort of a barnyard hay kind of aroma. I'm not sure how I feel about that yet, but once we get the cigar lit, we'll get a better understanding. So I've got my cigar toasted. I haven't actually taken a puff yet, and I really like the aroma that's coming off the foot. It's kind of sweet, kind of a little bit musty. It's really not bad. Sweet and musty sounds like a horrible combination, but it actually smells quite pleasant. Kind of thick and meaty on the palate. It's got a very defined sort of leather taste. A little bit dry on the palate, a little peppery. It's really amazing how many flavors are coming off of that very first puff. Generally, the flavor profile seems really lopsided during that first puff, or just kind of over the top. And as you get in that first quarter of an inch, things really settle out and become more defined. But in this case, it's just amazing how defined the flavors are right off the bat. A little bit of sweetness, a little bit of a spicy tinge on the tip of the tongue. Very aromatic. It's really impressive. This is the first cigar that's done this, that's performed like this right off the start for me in a very, very long time. Really impressed. Well, I'm coming up on the halfway point of my La Hermandad by Sean Williams of El Primer Mundo, and I have some mixed feelings at this point. In the flavor department, the cigar started off wonderfully. Wide range of flavors, very rich. Every single one of them were hitting the palate perfectly. You know, they were very defined. They worked well together. And it was just a tremendously interesting cigar to start. As we've burned through, those flavors have only gotten better. It's just amazing, the variety of flavors and how powerful each one is. It's just it's amazing when you can take a puff of the cigar, blow the smoke out, and just pick out every single independent flavor that makes up that flavor profile. The flavors are very heavy, rich, hearty on the palate. And the really nice thing is now I'm getting a cedar aroma through the sinus. So when I retrohale, it's like it almost has a cleansing effect to the heavy, rich flavors on the palate. You know, while I'm certainly not complaining about the heavy flavors on the palate, I like that. I really like the contrast that you get through the sinus. It just the retrohale takes the cigar from being very good to fantastic. I really like what it does there. Where I think the cigar is lacking a little bit at this point is the construction department. I've had to relight the cigar about 3 times so far, so I'm having some difficulty keeping it lit. And part of the problem seems to be maybe the burn. Right now, it's kind of a little wavy. It's fairly thin, but at various points throughout the cigar up to this point, the burn line was getting kind of thick, and I was getting these. Almost, they look like black droplets of oil just sort of bubbling off the wrapper. It makes a nice appearance, you know. It gives you that stunning visual effect of a nice oily wrapper, and it's just it's interesting to look at. But the cigar just the filler just doesn't seem to want to keep up or continue to burn with all of that other stuff going on. So while visually it looks nice, I'm struggling to keep the cigar burning. The smoke volume is also kind of disappointing. It's very inconsistent. Sometimes I can take a puff on the cigar and it's very tight and I'm getting very little smoke. At other times I take a puff and it is moderate. You know, I'm getting a fair amount of smoke. It's dense. It's just kind of lacking in volume. And then there are times when I take a puff and it's blissful. You know, I'm getting a mouthful of just very dense smoke and the volume is tremendous. If I just kind of take the cigar and take a puff on it, it's always tight. The issue seems to be, as the cigar is burned a bit, the filler must be swelling. So if I pinch the cigar with my teeth a little bit when I'm taking a puff, it's as if I'm moving the tobacco around and creating a channel for the smoke to go through. And because I don't know where that channel is, every time I pick up the cigar and take a puff, it's different. Sometimes I get it just right, and the volume of smoke is perfect. Other times I pick it up and I don't pinch it right, and I'm getting virtually no smoke at all. So, in terms of construction, I think that this could be better. I'm a little disappointed by the draw, especially. The burn, I don't want to say that all PDR cigars have burn issues, but it's just become common practice with me to keep a lighter handy when I'm smoking anything from Abe. They just require touch-ups, and I really don't mind it too much, but the draw, that kind of irks me a bit. Construction could be better. The flavor profile is just fantastic. No complaints whatsoever in that regard. I'm coming down the home stretch of my La Hermandad, and it's the flavor profiles are getting even better. I hate to be kind of gushy about the cigar and rave about the flavor profile, but it is really it's stellar. As the cigar is burning down, the flavors are getting richer and heartier and just heavier on the palate. It's really finishing strong, and the cedar tones through the sinus are just remarkable. How it leaves you just so clean afterwards. It's really impressive. The construction, though, is still becoming an issue, or it still remains an issue. I've sort of gotten down to getting good at pinching the cigar just right and getting more smoke volume. The little bit of an issue now is that the cigar is getting warmer as it's getting shorter. It seems like I'm almost overworking the cigar to get the smoke volume that I need. I've had to touch it up twice more since I turned the camera off last. So, you know, if we were going to do the old, you know, elementary school letter grades, the flavor is easily an A, high A. The construction, though, it maybe a high D, low C. It's really disappointing. It is probably the one thing that could really pull down an incredible cigar, is just not being able to get the smoke volume that you want and feeling as though you're struggling with that particular cigar throughout the entire process. And while it's not always been a fight, it's been a pretty big annoyance from start to finish. Fantastic cigar, flavor-wise. If I could smoke another one that was less problematic with the draw, I would easily, without thinking twice about it, hand over the $8 for this cigar. I think it is worth every bit of it. Even plagued with some draw problems and some construction issues, I still think it is a very good cigar, and I really wouldn't hesitate to pick it up again, simply because it just has incredible flavor. It's one of the most dynamic cigars that I've smoked in quite a while, and I'm just very, very pleased with it. So that's going to close it for the review of the La Hermandad. For additional information on this particular cigar, you can check out Brian Hewitt's press release from a while back, as well as the IBCPR video with Sean Williams, where he discusses not only this cigar but the Clase as well. So thanks for watching, happy smoking, and I will catch you next time.